about 30,000 troops going to security agencies going to man different areas. 14 governorship candidates.
Oh, record. Dear. I think this should go into the record of Nigeria. This has been the first, if I'm not mistaken. 14 governorship candidates in just one state, Oyo State. Is that because of the mass of the state, or is it because of the importance of Oyo, knowing that it is one of the oldest states in southwest of Nigeria?
No, I don't think that's the issue. Oyo State has always been the hotbed of politics in Yoruba land. So that is why the stakes are somewhat high. You remember when Lamidi Adedibu was around, he used to boast that he installed governors into office, that he needed his blessing. God has mercifully taken him away, and that has created a relatively level playing field for the contestants. They're politically very aware in Oyo State. I know among the Yoruba people, we talk about gang action and street fights being the characteristic of Ibadan people. But I think the aristocracy in Ibadan, I mean the political aristocrats like Olunloyo and Akinjide and whatever, they don't seem to have a full grasp of the grassroots. So there's always been some level of tolerance for seething upheaval among the grassroots. The man who commands following among the grassroots, in my viewpoint, is likely to carry the day. So all the elite candidates that you have been brandished, 14 of them that you are talking about, we want to look at the nexus with the periphery.
But is this, though, healthy for the process for your state?
What do you
14
mean?
candidates.
How do you mean? I mean, the more the merrier. Politics, numbers game. And it makes it more exciting. Okay? So many people are thrown up into the contest, and it shows a clear barometer of political development. Okay? Where people don't, the ordinary people don't lay back and just give it. The only interesting thing that I think is on the table is the possibility of the governor, the incumbent, having a second term. There's an aphorism that you don't have a two-term governor in Oyo State. Now, if the incumbent now, Ajimobi, can upset that particular viewpoint, then it will be very remarkable in terms of the political history of Oyo people.
How do you see it playing out tomorrow in Oyo State?
Let's just say that when you talked about the record of 14 candidates, I was just thinking that we do not have only 14 parties. So if all the political parties were to field governorship candidates, perhaps you'll be having more than 20 governorship candidates in that election. But the point is that one thing that is very remarkable about this election is that unlike previous election since 1999 in Oyo State, the role played very interesting, destabilizing, even if rancorous and violent, the stabilizing role played by Chief Lamidi Adedibu amongst the conservative elements in Oyo State politics is missing. And that sort of, frees the political environment. Before now, you would just say, look, Ketikon, it's not your turn. And you couldn't dare him. You dare him to your peril. So that stabilized the right. So rather than having, if you allow me to so categorize, rather than having 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 candidates now, right, perhaps you'll be having one. If you are still alive, regardless of the innovation that we have, maybe Ladoja will not be running,
Akala will not be running.
Akala will not be running. And so it frees the right, and so you have many people there. The second thing that we need to note is that there's this notion that you're not going to have, you've never had a governor winning a re-election in your state. I think that that notion is not a notion that has a solid foundation because some of the governors really didn't even get to go for a re-election before something would happen. For example, the aborted Third Republic, Kolapo, Zola, and all that. So we didn't get to a re-election before Abacha came and leveled everywhere, and so on and so forth. So the point is that now you have an incumbent who obviously has been bolstered by the outcome of this last election. You know, unlike in Lagos, where you're talking about some position being won by other parties, in your state, it's a case of how are the mighty falling. You know, and I'm sure many of the gladiators in Oyo State politics are still in shock as to how that election went. Now, moving from there to tomorrow's election, it's likely, in my view, that we're going to have a kind of bandwagon effect, and it may just be possible that the incumbent may snatch a victory in tomorrow's election.
Well, Chile, let me quickly get your perspective on this one. What do the figures tell us if we could look back at those figures the last time in Oyo State? Now 14, even though many don't even remember all those 14, but there are some leading ones. We could categorize them as such. What do you see happening?
I think for our viewers and for the governor of Oyo State at the moment, the only number that you'll be bothered about is the number 22, and I'll explain to you why. Oyo has 33 local governments. Constitutionally, the governor has to win, or whoever who is going to be governor of Oyo State needs to win 2/3 of the local governments in the state. So 2/3 of 33 is 22. So the sitting governor does not only need to have majority of the votes if he's to win, he needs to have 25% in a minimum of 22 local governments. And that's why I said that number 22 is what will be giving him sleepless nights from tonight. Will he be able to get 22? It's something he'll be thinking about. For the other 13 major candidates, I think what they will be working towards will be two things. The first will be for them to get the majority of the votes. Their second strategy clearly will be, if they are not able to achieve their first strategy, the second strategy will be to ensure that the sitting governor does not get that number 22. So I think with Oyo State, it's going to be a contest of not just who wins the majority. I think Oyo State is going to be a particularly interesting case because the other 13 candidates, apart from the sitting governor, cannot be described as being weak candidates, considering their pedigree in government historically. So you have a big soup, as I will describe it, and you have a lot of players trying to taste in from this soup. If all the guys that are trying to come in to partake in this election, those are the 14 guys, are strong enough, then we might see something very historic in Oyo State.